Welcome to Tabletop Cinema, where we bring together the worlds of filmmaking, tabletop role-playing, and video games. I'm your host Mikey, freelance filmmaker, tabletop RPG game master, and variety streamer on Twitch. I really hope that intro isn't getting old. But here we are, back with our first playthrough of Black Book. This is actually a very meaty game. We're not even halfway through. Now, where did we last leave off?
A ray of light from a suddenly opened door of the village shop pierces the darkness. A young lad with an accordion strapped across his back runs into the street. A moment later, a shop owner emerges, spewing curses and chasing after the musician. You are somewhat familiar with the accordion player. This dashing youth is often invited to vichorkas and celebrations.
What strange times we live in. Well, this game is set in the 19th century, in a province that no longer exists. It's still pretty weird. So I remember last time we decided to... We helped the accordion player for some reason. But my first instinct went to help the merchant. Let's try that out. Help the merchant.
You whisper a zagaver, and the musician trips in the dark. He manages to keep his balance, but drops his spoils. You think he casts a narrow-eyed glance in your direction before he disappears in the dark.
Oh well, -1 sin.
The merchant spits on a neighbor's hen in frustration, knowing he won't be able to catch the musician.
That scoundrel! Sure, take him! He'll pay me back, he says. I know all about him paying back. I won't see half kopeck until Christmas.
Offer help.
I know this man. Should I get him back for you?
If only you could. I know him as well, but still. If only my boy was at the counter. I bet he's gone divinate into the ovens again.
The ovens is a barn to dry hay.
Behind those barns?
Granaries, as well as mills, are part of the flour making process. A granary is a rectangular log structure with a roof with 4 slopes. 8 large wooden boxes called susek could store up to 125 tons of grain. Ventilation holes called products perforated the lower part of the building.
Yes? Is anything wrong?
Do they have any idea how to perform divinations? I fear something might go wrong.
Nothing bad will happen to them. Sure, take them. Youngster, have no patience. Can I help you? Get going.
But what if I wanted to buy something?
Yeah, right. The devil you roaming around at night. Get lost.
Well, I tried to help
the
him.
merchant shuts the door in front of you. You can only continue on your way.
That's a lot. Wait, the fair we haven't visited? Well, let's check the barnyard. So our main task is actually to force the bandits to make sacrifices, because the Vodyanoi agreed to break the seal if we persuade the bandits to resume making sacrifices to him. I don't know how we're going to do that. But let's visit the barnyard. The merchant told me the children were performing divinations in the barnyard. Divinations at the wrong time can prove dangerous. It can't hurt to check on them.
The black shape of this avin looks like a beast ready to pounce. When you peek through the slightly open door, you gasp. Aviniks have stuffed the children into the stove and are arguing about something.
Holy crap. Is there an explanation why you put the children in the stove?
Let us into your ravine, kind host.
I witch! I can sense Khaldun's from a mile away. Well, come in. You've already invited yourself.
What's with the children? Did you kill them?
Not yet. We're deciding on who gets to do it.
Uh-huh.
Well, what are you looking at? They came for divinations at wrong time, didn't ask for invitation, didn't circle themselves. And to top things off, their father cursed them.
Oh.
Or could it be you, who also came to grab a bite? Come on, take off their icons. They're nasty to the touch.
We can actually play it as we can actually take the icons. Let's try and outsmart them.
I came for the children. They're my prey. The merchants send them to hell? I know, and their chorts send me precisely for that reason. The real chorts, mind you, not some household spirits.
Ah.
That's the first time I've heard such a thing. Prove to us that charts sent you.
These Aviniks want to see chorts. Well, I know where I can get plenty of those.
Black book.
Look, I have a book of sorcery.
Whoops.
What of it? If it were a holy book, we would be scared. But this one reeks of pure sorcery. We thought we had better kill you, so you wouldn't bother us.
Missed out on XP there. 45. Paralysis, cannot use herbs. That's fine. So what do we have here? We have the ward and increased well-versed effect of black pages. So we want that. Huh. We do not have that though. Can you curse them? Not yet. Could have done this without fighting, apparently. Well, I'm not gonna be using herbs. 20 and 23. Are you kidding me? Let's see if we can knock him out in this turn. Oh, we have well-versed defenses here. So it's 3. 13. Defense increases for 2 each time you lose health. And why not increase your defense, right? Hopefully this should be enough to mitigate some of it and still deal damage because of our eternal effect. That's gonna hurt. $23 and 20 again. Do we already have Bloodburn? Waste each time my HP goes down. Will this even work? 15. 24, just enough to kill him. Uh-oh. Why aren't you getting hurt? You're gonna paralyze me again? Let's get regeneration started. Right, they can't use herbs. I have to kill him now. Oh, damn it. I don't have any damage dealing stuff. 8. 10, and then 3 and 3. So this should kill him. Let's try and heal ourselves as well. Just a bit. I hope I calculated correctly. There we go. That's a sin. Why not?
After the Avenics disappear, the children return to their senses. They remember what happened, only in part. You remind them of the necessities of a protective circle by properly boxing their ears.
Saltanovka Wood. The forest to the east of the village. They say there are a lot of beekeepers here. Perhaps I can trade with them.
The narrow path leads you to a silent bee garden. A single light shines amidst the beehives. A beekeeper has lit a splinter and is writing something on birch bark.
I can hear you walking. Come out to the light.
Greetings, beekeeper.
Ah, a traveler. Well, come in. Make yourself at home in my bee kingdom. My name is Panko.
The beekeeper proceeds to write something on birch bark.
Are you writing a Leshy charter by chance?
Heaven forbid. I'm calculating my income for the summer. The bee queen spawns grubs every day. So I get a lot of new bees. If only I had enough houses for them. This Vajanoi helps me. There's Chorts Creek nearby. The bees drink their water there. I threw something in the water recently. A bottle of vodka and a loaf of bread. So my bees wouldn't die off this winter.
Oh, but he doesn't like those
I see.
anymore.
If you're having a good year, maybe you have something to sell.
Come and take a look. Are you interested in some healing herbs?
Vodyanoi.
Have you heard about the local Vajanoi?
Well, they say all sorts of things. I heard this one story from an old woman I know. Thing is, I can tell a mighty scary story. Might make your hair stand on end.
What is this? Again, the new update didn't... Ugh. Like I don't know which one is new. Been waiting long? No, it's not weird you read that. When Granny saw Vodyanoi. Vodyanoi's wedding. Probably this one. People were known to be dragged to the bottom if they removed their cross. The Lord's own cross protects from all misfortunes. Or did we read this already before? A young lad was swimming, as he often did, when the string of his cross tore and sank right to the bottom. Ah, we already read that. Hired by Vodyanoi. A man sank in the water and became a servant of a Vodyanoi. The fish master took a liking to him and decided to let him back onto the shore with a bride and a generous dowry. The girl, named Marina, whispered to him, "He'll give you a choice of 12 girls. All of them, except for me, have yellow teeth. Mine are white. If you choose wrongly, you'll stay here forever. He'll then let you choose between 2 sacks, a large one and a small one. Don't be greedy. Choose the smaller one, as it contains a mill. It will mill anything into flour and will never starve. Don't choose the large sack, or you'll be forced to remain here." The guy did as he was told. He returned to the land, built an izba, got married in the church, had many children, and forgot about the Vodyanoi. Only in Pentecost did they remember him and leave him offerings by the river. And we got a new encyclopedia entry, Barnyard and Drying Barn. A barnyard is comprised of several buildings for threshing grain connected with a single 2-slope roof. Before threshing, the sheaves of rye had to be dried in one of these buildings, called a drying barn. It consisted of 2 parts, one of them underground with a stone stove. The sheaves were laid on the poles above the stove. After drying, they were brought to the straw cutter. The barnyard and drying barn were protected by specific spirits, Gumeniks and Oviniks. They were imagined to be small humanoids in red pointed caps. On the Yuletide, girls went to the barnyard for groom divinations. They put their bare feet above drying poles, and if the Ovinik hit them with a lash, it meant their groom would be mean. If the Ovinik stroked their feet with a firm mitten, the groom would be kind. Ugh. What wares do you have? Your lips were made for drinking honey. Eloquence 3. Replenish 20 health, damn. Some simpletons who are considered to be miracle workers prize this herb for its love-binding properties and use it to fool people who are blinded by love. Terrible. Come all this way.
Come and take a look. Are you interested in some healing herbs?
And I don't buy honey. I'm gonna save some money.
At the crossroads of 2 trade routes, you see the annual fair. Despite the late hour, trading is still taking place. Perhaps you might buy something for your journey. A multitude of goods can be found. Prianics, as well as a variety of magic trinkets. There's something for everyone here.
What? Want some piano?
More herbs. What do we need from here? Remove status curse. 5 defense. Eliminate enemy's defense. We don't really need that.
Be wise and go forth. Knowledge will serve as your daily bread.
No. Oh, Eternal. Increase 2. We already have Death of Demons already, though. So we're good. And we already have this in our book. Nicholas and George.
Low prices, come and see for yourself. Buy some herbs and other goods I've brought for you from the woods.
Didn't he buy this already? Flag of the Perm Province. Oh no. We did buy it. This is the inventory. Hmm. An Adam said maybe. How many do we have left? 6. Nekarosovo village. A man lived in this village. The Vodyanoi caught him and made him herd his cows. Now you can pray for his soul here. Right, we have to order prayer.
The silent village is getting ready to sleep. There are lights in some windows, and from time to time, you see peasants going about their business.
Find Drowner's wife.
You soon find the Izba, where the missing peasant's family lives. It turns out that he is one of the villagers trying to reach the Sultanovka Bank. You tell his wife that she must recite a prayer. The shaken woman recognizes you as a witch and trusts your every word.
Let's give a lot.
You give her all the money the Vajinoy's servant gave you.
Oh, he did give us 25.
The grateful peasant woman gives you some healing herbs for the road. After some thought, you ask her to light a candle for a certain Rusalka that you know.
Yep. New item.
The silent village is getting ready to sleep. There are lights in some windows, and from time to time, you see peasants going about their business.
Ask about the pothouse.
Everyone you ask knows about the pothouse, but tells you that it is a wicked place for wicked people. As it turns out, the bandits have become even noisier as of late, but no one has seen them in nearby villages. One of the people you talk to crosses himself and tells you that there's something demonic going on in this pothouse. With a shaky voice, he tells you about a logging area to the west. You can't get anything else out of him. The silent village is getting ready to sleep. There are lights in some windows.
Necrosov baths. Evil spirits.
You hear the lingering sounds of songs long known to you. At one of the izbas, you see a late-running vichorka. It may be worth stopping to listen for a while.
Evening party for young folk.
You sit by a house and dissolve in a deep song.
Let's head to the forest clearing. They say some bandits were felling timber here. Perhaps I can learn something about them.
On the frozen logging site, everything is silent, even birds and insects. Knowing this to be a sign of evil spirits, you open your book. Several fat logs are lying on the glade ahead of you near an old fire, and some items are scattered about it. By the roots of a notably large fallen pine, you see the mouth of a hole.
Can I inspect everything? Logs.
The closer you get to the logging site, the stronger the smell of decay. You recoil involuntarily when you spot the bodies, stuck into the rough holes in the trunks, as if into coffins.
Inspect the bodies.
Overcoming your disgust, you inspect the corpses. Many of the dead have weapons. It would appear they used to be bandits.
Oh.
You find a purse with rubles on one of them and take it without remorse.
Inspect. Oh, the logs again?
The closer you get to the logging site, the
Okay.
stronger the smell.
Fire.
You feel the stench of death in the air. It seems no one has been here for a long time. You find someone's ledger by the fire. Reading it, you find regular sacrifices to the Vadyanoi and other more sinister expenses that you try not to think about. The last record is dated more than a week ago.
Ooh. Inspect the hole.
The hole breathes with the dampness of a graveyard. At the bottom of it, among roots that look like paws of exotic beasts, you see an empty chest. Upon closer inspection, it proves to be quite old. It would seem that this small chest was buried a long time ago.
Okay. Are we going to be able to use this information?
The hole breathes with
On to the Saltanovka Bank. I hope the Vodyanoi doesn't catch me just yet. I haven't even spoken to the bandits.
Someone's figure stands black at the forest's edge. You can't make out who's waiting for you on your way. You clutch your book tighter.
Attack without even thinking. It's pretty wild. Call out.
A human voice answers you. You come closer and recognize the accordion player you met from Saltanova village.
He's probably pissed at me.
Vasha, I knew it was you in the village.
What do you need? You're on your way already.
I've noticed you in the village. I saw you looked in my direction when I fell. Well, I remember old Igor teaching you curses.
Uh-huh.
I need these sweets for business, but I'll pay them back first thing tomorrow.
You must be carrying these for the girls, as usual.
Such accusations all of a sudden. Nothing of the sort. I'm going to a pot house. I've been asked to play for a birthday, I think.
Coincidentally.
Fedka plays a riff on his accordion.
I think if I bring a present along, they'll pay me more.
Or sacrifice you. Pot house.
To a pot house, you say? Have you been there before? What kind of place is it?
No, I haven't. It used to be an abandoned izba. Now I hear that each night it becomes a noisy pot house. So it must be fun. Oh, a fine pot house it must be.
Birthday.
Who called you there?
God knows. The other night I met some lad by my izba. Come to the pot house, he says. Gave me some money in advance and promised more afterwards.
Sus.
Why couldn't you buy sweets with that money?
I hid them away right after, just in case. Come on, don't fret. I'll pay it back later.
Bandits.
I've heard wicked people reside there.
I don't care. Even church won't hurt an accordion player.
Like Jas. You're like Yask
Wait,
here.
you haven't met Chorts. You wouldn't know if you did.
Not everyone is brought up by a knower.
Well, goodbye.
God help you. I have business of my own.
Wait, where are you going yourself?
I'm going to the pot house too. I need to check up on this birthday.
Oh, how wonderful. Let's go together.
Yeah, wonderful. Sorry, but I'll have to go alone. First, I need to drop by Nekrasova.
Look what's going on there. Men and women crawling like flies. Let's go.
You don't have time to interject, and the musician drags you along. Peasants are gathering on the banks of the river. Each has several loaves of bread in their hands, which they are throwing into the river, and watch as they drift downstream. The musician calls out to them, and strides confidently towards them.
Well met, Nekrasova. What are you doing here? Feeding the fishes?
They're looking for a drowned man. He can be found where a loaf sinks, so they say.
Oh.
Yes. One man from our village went missing. We can't find him.
I think I know who you're talking about. You won't ransom him from Ovadinoy with bread, and not from your Ovadinoy for sure.
And how do you know that?
Her grandpa is an ower. She's an ower too.
But what can we do to make him drift ashore? Tell us if you know.
If you want to ransom him from Yovadinoy, you'll need coins for that. Throw an odd number of each time, 3 or 15.
Oh.
How much money will it take? Where can we get that amount? We struggled even to get this bread.
Oh, man. Fine. Give money.
Here, take this. It's not much, but it should do.
Come on. Can we have a negative sin counter?
Well, Washa, quite a wealthy girl you are.
Keep quiet. Don't go counting my money.
We thank you for this. We'd be searching for him until spring this way.
You say goodbye to the peasants and go on your way. Soon, you are able to rid yourself of the musician, who stays to chat with some of his new acquaintances.
Ha. Settlement. There are several houses some distance away from the village. Someday, they may form a village of their own.
You pass a small settlement that has no name yet. On the village edge, you notice a fat barrel rolling to the west.
Read the Black Saga for? No. Let's follow.
It turns out that the barrel is rolling to the pothouse. Sometime later, several chorts fly out of it, transform into whirlwinds, and fly away so fast that you have no time to read a Zagavar. Approaching the barrel, you notice that it used to be full of mash, but it is empty now.
Oh, I could have used that for Broshka. What a waste. Pothouses are often places of ill repute. This one is especially notorious. Ooh, what am I doing here? Pick up. Nice.
There are only abandoned isbas nearby. Their windows are all dark. No one wants to live this close to a pothouse.
Oh, a pothouse is a wine house according to the subtitle. Yeah, break herb. And this man is passed out, drunk.
A large isba, a fine one. I didn't think they wasted such fine isbas on pothouses.
Back door. Another herb. Remove status curse. I wash in copper dew and dry myself in the sun. I dress with the clouds and gird myself with the infinite stars. Poetic.
What a Vichorka they're having here. I see the musician has already got there.
They really are partying.
Which one of them manages the Vodinoy sacrifices, I wonder?
But it is organized sacrifices.
How can I get inside? What a Vichorka they're having here. I see the musician has already got there. There are only abandoned isbas nearby. Their windows are all dark. A large isba, a fine one.
Hello, peasant.
The peasant holds his head and wipes away a single tear from time to time.
Are you alright?
Oh, girl, what are you doing here? Get out of here while you still can. This is an evil place.
Dead bandits.
I know it is. That's why I'm here. I found dead bandits in the forest, at the logging site. It would seem that demons killed them.
That's what happened. Run while you yourself are still alive.
Why are you still
If
here?
you're so scared, why aren't you running too?
Exactly.
I can't escape the charts. They left me here while they're drinking in the pothouse. Later, they'll ride me to hell.
Dear God, so you're dead?
Oh.
I used to spend quite a bit of time in this pothouse. Now it's time to pay the bill.
Tough. Other
I
questions.
see.
Pot
What
house.
can you tell me about the pot house?
A wicked place. Oh, wicked people. So it was. And it's worse now.
Why are you crying?
What? I'm not crying. I won't cry. No matter what fate befalls me. Do you hear?
I know it is. That's why I'm here. It would seem that demons killed.
That's what happened.
If you're so scared,
I can't escape the charm. Later,
dear God,
I used to spend quite a bit of time
Offer help.
in this pothouse.
perhaps I can save you. I know how to deal with chorts. I have a pastor full of my own. Just help me get inside.
You can't help me, but you can pick on a chart if you like. Here is the key from the back door. You can go in if you want to.
Oh. Goodbye.
The peasant holds his head and wipes.
Are you alright?
Oh, girl, what are you doing?
So we don't even have to talk to this guy, the bouncer. But I'm curious about the dialogue. He's not even voiced. What's wrong with your head, girl? Did you forget something here?
I have business with your chieftain.
Ha! He has no business with you. Go, before Cassian has seen you.
Introduce yourself, intimidate, play cards. Why not introduce myself? Reveal everything.
I'm a witch from Vilgard, if you really want to know.
And I am Zao, the entire Perm Gubernia.
Ha! Find another way.
You can hear the sounds of an accordion and lively conversation. The door is locked.
Open the door with a key.
The lock falls to the floor with a thud. The door is open.
Well now.
The accordion player winks at you while playing his instrument.
I knew your life wouldn't be the same without me. You came to see me, Vasilisa, my dear.
Don't tempt fate, Fyodor.
I'm only kidding. The fun starts at night.
Bandits.
Aren't you afraid of Wicked Man?
What's there to be afraid of? Everyone likes a good accordion player. I tell you, the devil himself doesn't frighten me. I won't let anyone hurt you either.
Uh-huh. Evil
I
spirits.
found something. I think demons are to blame for it. Perhaps the bandits are all dead by now.
The stories you tell, Vasilisa. You and your old man, always first-rate jokers.
This is no joke, Fetka.
Oh, stop it, Vasya. You'll make me miss my notes.
Fun.
What were you saying about fun?
Some guy tells me here that as soon as it gets dark, we'll start treating our guests so well that he'll be in heaven.
Oh wow.
That's the gist of it.
Huh. Interesting. We'll talk later.
All right, here, sit on the bench. Listen to my fine playing.
These ones don't even want to talk to me. He wants me to bring him more booze. Yeah, right.
Oh. Pff.
These ones don't even want to talk to me.
The accordion player winks.
I knew your life wouldn't be the same.
Don't tempt fate.
I'm only kidding. The fun starts.
We'll talk later.
All right.
Mashing. Mush is what you ate, and mash is what you drank. Or mashing.
The fun starts to gather momentum, while the sky behind the window is getting dark.
Talk to the wine merchant first.
The pothouse's owner doesn't even look at me. He doesn't say anything. He only furrows his brows. The pothouse's owner doesn't even look at me.
The fun starts to gather momentum.
Wait.
Soon the peasants are dancing so hard that the walls around them start to shake. After some time, the crowd is having so much fun that the accordion player is lifted up and thrown into the air to cheers. The most noticeable in the crowd is a large man. Is this the game, Chief? You notice that the pothouse visitors approach a glass jar that stands by the window and smears something around their eyes. Having carefully picked out this moment, you reach the item. You've had a bad feeling about this pothouse for a while, and now it has turned to horror.
Oh, so they can see the demons. Okay, use the salve. Is that the accordion player? Yep.
Your suspicions prove true. Everything around you was an illusion. The accordion player wasn't thrown into the air without malice. You take out the black book, but the chief of the short swarm calls you out.
I think my stables will see another witch added to it. What a day. Whatever brought you here, madam?
The musician is trying to get out of the noose with all his strength.
If I talk, well, is it gonna delay? Bandits.
I know that you killed the local bandits.
Not the time. We need to free him.
They found what they shouldn't have. That is, us. I can't say we weren't grateful, though.
You killed them all? Why?
Not the time.
The accordion player fights back a little less fiercely.
Oh.
Do we require a reason? We're evil spirits, girl. But you ask your questions. I have plenty of time.
No, attack.
Stop your blabbing. You're going to hell along with your pack.
I hope we saved him in time.
We'll see who goes to hell. I'll turn you into a mare and hitch you to a cart.
I'd love to learn more, but then can't let him die. He's gonna bless himself. 3 and 2. Our armor should take care of that. Defense should take care of it for the first round. Let's kill this guy already. Bless. Eternal damage when health is lost, or eternal waste on enemies. Maybe waste is good. Gesture to this. Or should we get in Father's name? I think we need... Nah, let's pour it on now. You should die next round. So you're blessed. need you on cooldown. So that's gonna reduce it to 5. We need 20 defense. I guess we have to regenerate ourselves. And death to demons. Let's get hurt a bit. You gave me 6 defense. Time left. If you don't destroy all the evil spirits, you will lose? Wait, you kidding me? 3 rounds to do all this? Alright, wait a minute. 8, 11, no. I think this should be enough. Right, 11, and then... yeah. I wish I could see the split of damage. By 1. Well, he's gonna die next round. Alright, we have 2 rounds to deal 94 damage. Okay, what do we need? Eternal. Do we already have damage when health is lost? There we go. How can we pour in the damage even further? Hopefully all the Navas work. The waste should also help me. $78 damage in 1 round. I'm not sure if we can do that. Ugh. Won't make it. Damn it. How do we do this? Oh, I gotta restart the fight.
Keep at it, and your friend here will join our sinners.
Don't count on it.
You will follow right after.
Game over. Well. Okay, how do I restart? There's no option to replay. Okay. Load manually then.
Your suspicions prove true. Everything around you was an illusion.
I think my statement.
The musician is trying to get out of the noose with...
Stop your blabbing. You're...
We'll see who goes to hell.
I wonder if that gives us more rounds. 7. Nice. Makes sense. He's why would he start asking questions while he's dying? Just pour it all on him. Are they gonna get stronger each turn? What are you gonna do? Removes positive status. My ward? How dare. Well-versed regeneration or well-versed defense. I wish I had Serpent Sting now. Increase defense for health lost. Waste 10. Alright.
Keep at it, and your friend here will join our sinners.
Don't count on it.
You will follow right after.
Come on. I need more damage dealing. There. Increase waste on enemies by 1. I guess it can mitigate some of the damage, or no? Let's get some healing in. Worry about the ads later. Will the waste even hurt him? Did he heal himself? He did. So we do have to kill him quickly. Or kill the ads. Should have killed the ads. I'm not getting any damage in. Damn it. He's just gonna heal for 10 again. Way too... Can't win this. Have to restart. Alright, let's take care of these guys. Terrible starting hand though. Wait a minute. Not that. This. Nice. One round, 2 rounds, and the rest on him. Waste 10. Alright. So that'll kill you instantly. Curse you. Take all the damage. I want you to get wasted. Did that increase? Only waste 2. Bless first. Oh, it's by 1 each time health is lost. Only by 1. 12 damage, huh? Hey, how's it going, Corin Trickfoot? This game is called Black Book. It is a deck building adventure game set at the turn of the century, steeped in Slavic mythology. I think that's like a log line I could give you. So, if you love The Witcher, well, it scratches that itch for me. To play as Vasilisa, she's a sorceress, and her goal is to unlock the 7 seals of the Black Book so that she may be granted a wish to resurrect her dead husband, who took his own life under mysterious circumstances. And it's surprisingly quite meaty. The game is, I think, like 30-ish hours if you do all like the side missions. So we're like only halfway through. It's been an interesting journey so far. The characters have been pretty much likable, and in typical fashion, it's very similar to The Witcher. You know, the line between good and evil, it's hard to tell, as well as the double belief of Christianity and paganism. So it's a really fascinating setting, and it's actually very reminiscent of our own setting here in the Philippines in terms of like having the folk beliefs meld with Christianity. So I need to defend myself though. So this deck building aspect comes in terms of building your spell book. And apparently there are like multiple endings, and you can commit sin if you want. There's an actual counter which counts the number of your sins. So what's happening here is we're trying to deal with the Vodyanoi.
Your friend here will join our sinners.
The Vodyanoi is the master of the lake. Anyone who deals with the river needs to deal with the Vodyanoi. So it's been quite a long journey. We bumped into a Rusalka. The Rusalka was killing people at the salt farm. Our client was actually the owner of the salt farm. He wanted us to investigate the disappearances of his salt workers. What happened, what we find out actually, is that the Rusalka, which was sent by the Vodyanoi to kill the salt workers, was actually the daughter of the salt worker who drowned in the lake many years ago. She had no recollection of her life until we helped her remember her name. So we went into the underwater kingdom, we went to the Vodyanoi, we talked to him, and he recently asked us, you know, he's so pissed off now that humans nowadays, they don't want to like sacrifice humans to me anymore. What do? Toss vodka and bread into the river. Like, what can I do with vodka and bread? So he's pissed off. Especially at the miller. Well, the salt farm owner, who used to own a mill, and he actually made a pact with the Vodyanoi back then. He said, I'm going to sacrifice a soul to you in exchange for making my mill prosperous. It worked out, but he didn't pay his debt. So now the Vodyanoi come to collect, and that was in the form of his daughter. And well, irony of ironies, Vodyanoi sends the daughter herself, not knowing, sends it to the salt farm owner, her father, and basically starts killing all the workers there. You know, typical Witcher stuff.
Don't count on it.
So right now, the Vodyanoi, I think he'll leave them alone in exchange for convincing the bandits to continue their sacrifices. Now, that sounds pretty shitty as well, because the bandits have actually been sacrificing humans to the river to do their, their river shenanigans. But they discovered the demons. They discovered this batch of demons. These demons massacred the bandits. And then it's so messy in such a great way. This guy about to choke to death is an accordion player. He reminded me of Yaskir actually, because he's all like, "Oh, a man showed up at my house, asked me to play at their party. It's gonna be great. And even if there are ne'er-do-wells there and bandits, who's gonna harm an accordion player? No one harms a bard." And here we are now. The true nature of this thing. It was all an illusion. This is the true pothouse. Demons basically sacrificing people.
You will follow right after.
So that's why we have this counter, because in 3 rounds, this guy's gonna die. So thankfully, we just have to deal 11 more damage, and it'll be great. Yeah, Corin, like, actually playing this and God of War and all that, I'm itching for a dark fantasy experience. And also playing Elden Ring. What am I talking about? Going through a side quest in Elden Ring, knowing it's gonna end terribly for the characters because it's a product of, well, Miyazaki and George R. R. Martin. So of course you're gonna get that kind of shit in Elden Ring. So playing all that is, I'm excited. I'm excited to experience, darker side of these adventures. Where was I? So we just need to deal 11 damage. We're gonna kill him already, so we're totally fine. We should actually just try to get some healing in before... Actually, no. After we kill him, it'll end the chapter. But good. Let's just establish good habits. You never know what kind of surprises are in store. So these are spells that we're reading. So they're actually kind of like, they're basically verbal and somatic components. So there are gestures which don't require a slot. And you're building your spell each time. You're building your Zagavor or spell. Yeah, Symbarom. I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking, or aside from Vaesen, which is, Norse mythology, dark Norse mythology experience for Free League, right? Free League makes great games. Symbarom seems like it'd be upper alley as well. Or hell, why not the actual Witcher tabletop RPG? There's a supplement set in the golden age of Witchers. So, I think I have a copy. I haven't gone through it, but I heard good things about it. So, if you want, you could all play Witchers, and the world is rife with monsters. But at the same time, I do like the setting of the present-day Witcher, which, the messiness of human politics and noble intrigue mixed with the tension there between the monsters still being there but almost forgotten and the Witchers almost extinct. I like that kind of aspect as well. So, two different vibes, I guess. So with each seal, we actually get more stuff. And about my sin counter, it's 0. Because we've been doing a good deed a day. I'm honestly curious because some cards are powerful, but it's a sin each time to use it. And the chorts, the demons under your command, they're imps. It reminds me of Ezagos and reminds me of, imps are devilish creatures, okay? They want to mess shit up and be mischievous. If you don't task them, or if you don't give them a task, they're going to make life hell for you. So you can actually, if you're a wise Koldun sorcerer, or if you're a wise witch or sorceress, you get to trick them by saying, okay, I want you to catch the dawn in a bottle. So they're not going to pester anyone else because they're going to be, it's going to be futile as they try to catch the dawn in a bottle. But the alternative to that is you can't trick all the chorts that way. So if you don't want them to mess you up and grant you negative effects for your playthrough, you have to assign them to, I don't know, possess a person, spread blight onto a field, destroy someone's harvest, curse that neighbor who that neighbor was annoyed about because he was too loud. And you can just accumulate sin. And I think that's an interesting end. That might lead to another ending. Because Vasilisa really just wants to... she wants to break the seals. You can play it as break the seals no matter the cost. Or try to retain your sense of self. You can play Vasilisa either way. So I've been avoiding any of these sin cards. And building my spell book. I don't really have a theme yet. I'm not strong with deck building. I've just been choosing cards that I feel are pretty cool. But this game also rewards you for reading the encyclopedia. You know, similar to Witcher, you're rewarded for actually reading the bestiary entries because then you know how to deal with them. Here, you read about a folktale, which is very similar to what's going on here in the game. And you can make decisions based on that. Like, you know, the folktales tell us that if you do not cross yourself before crossing the threshold, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of little superstitions here. Very much, you know, very much tabi-tabi po, or all of these things. If you don't do it, shit'll happen to you.
When Mikolka the Chort falls, his flock flies screaming from the windows and doors. You quickly release Fidk from the noose. He seems to be still breathing, but there's no trace of his usual hubris. To your surprise, the Chort hasn't yet vanished like the rest.
It's Yaskir after a near-death encounter.
Wait, Khaldun, I will help you.
What? You're looking to serve me? I have plenty of charts of my own.
But I am a strong Chort. You've seen it yourself. I'll prove myself useful more than once.
Learn about the bandits.
First, tell me this. What happened to the bandits?
They dug up an old treasure chest and was buried here a long time ago by Ushquinix.
So I love it that they highlight words and you get to learn what's an Ushquinik. The pirates from Novgorod. Doesn't that sound familiar? You know, Novgorod, Novigrad, etc., etc. Naming conventions. The pirates from Novgorod. They also did their business on Kama River. So actually, especially with what's happening in the world today, I was kind of worried about, like, I don't know. We know that this is set in a different time, but it's still kind of weird the times we live in. Like, I started this game before any of this stuff happened in Ukraine. But now we're playing a game set in 19th century Russia. And it's just kind of weird, honestly. But this is set mostly in the Cherdyn Uyezd province, which existed until 1920. Then I think it became actual Cherdyn.
It was guarded by strong sorcery. Not strong enough to kill all the bandits, but still. I think something went wrong with the Zagavor. Or maybe the place there is special.
I totally forgot. I highlighted Ushkad. I forgot what the term is. What was that again? Buried by some creatures. They dug it up. Shit happened.
We were bound to guard it. Regular Chorts we were. But with time, the magic grew stronger, and so did our power. Like wine. When they opened the chest, we took what we were due. All of their heads.
Damn.
The residue of the sorcery created of this phantom.
Yeah, the bandits, we found them stuffed into tree trunks. As in the hollows of the tree trunks, like smushed in there. So the art style may be quite deceiving, actually. And the graphics themselves are super simple. But you can imagine, you know, it leaves a lot to the imagination.
I don't think Vakul will be too happy.
And after that, we started gathering the cursed ones around the area. I turned the sinners into horses and drive them into hell. Everything had been going so well until you came. The Zagavad was so strong even the evil spirits used herbs to counter it.
Decide on the Chort's fate.
Should I leave these Chorts here to roam around instead of the bandits? Let them make offerings to the Vodinoi.
I don't think that's a good idea. But how do you handle this? The Vodinoi clearly said, I need to go to the bandits and let them continue their human sacrifices to me. Let's take the Chort and make him serve us. He's a powerful Chort. I wonder if that's going to be a sin. And we can probably find a way to make it work. But definitely not make offerings. This is probably the Vasilisa playthrough where you're kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, this will happen again, you know? Lure people into this pot house in the guise of a party and then just hang them. Why not? Take the short. The problem here is I have so many shorts under my command now that the more shorts you take in, if you don't assign them to tasks, they actually bring detrimental effects. They're going to lessen your health, lessen the damage you do, the defense. And the way to mitigate that is sending them on tasks. But you only have a maximum of 2 menial tasks, which have no consequences. So I can only get rid of 2 shorts per chapter. Every chapter, they come back, and then you have to reassign them again. But if you want, you can actually just assign all your shorts, earn a lot of money, but also stack up that sin counter. Like, honestly, it's like, I want to try just, you know, sin, but then I'm taking it as a challenge to get to the ending with my soul pure. In whatever, you know, I don't know how to even measure sin here. It's so interesting because it's a double belief thing. You're dealing with shorts, you're dealing with devils to deal with devils. It just is. So I like that moral ambiguity there.
All right, come into my service.
Oh god. See, look at this. -3 damage per page. That is a lot. But he can turn the souls of sinners into horses.
Thank you, witch. You won't regret it. I will spoil a lot of souls on your behalf.
No spoiling. No spoiling.
The accordion player has stood on the border between life and death, and seems to be different right now. On your way back, he is silent. You help Fejdka get to the closest village and return home. You can only guess how the Vodyanoi will react to the death of his bandits. They won't make him offerings anymore.
I guess he's gotta live with the times. People don't want to do human sacrifices anymore. Except the vodka and bread. But, see, it's one of those things. The Vodanoi's been here ever since, even before the humans settled. Which is why the humans here are ever respectful to the Leshis. They always leave offerings to the Leshi. One of them even left a child for the Leshi. We stumbled upon that child, and there was a belief that leaving the child out in the open here would cure the child of the illness. The child was left there for days. It is dying. It wasn't being cured. So, of course, we took the child back, brought it back to the parents, and it is a mess. Get back to the Isba. So that's more or less the game loop here. Then a new chapter begins, you get to talk to your companions.
And I was here by dawn. And I was here by dawn.
And sometimes the subtitles are different and the voice lines are iffy. You know, bugs.
Why didn't you leave that short to make sacrifices? Huh?
Or what did you want? You wanted to prey on the villagers nearby?
Catch the cockroaches.
I'll think of something with the Vodyanoi.
But now we're gonna have now it's gonna be so much more difficult to negotiate with the Vodyanoi. Because the Vodyanoi is gonna be like, you could have just left them there. They would have continued in the bandit's stead.
You'd better. We don't have time to search for another Vodyanoi. All right, you need to go to the mill. I already sent a salt worker there.
So old Igor is our adoptive grandfather. He had the black book before we did. But when our husband died, Vasilisa could not accept his fate because he took his own life. So he didn't end up in heaven or hell. Or he ended up in hell. In their belief. So Vasilisa wants to drag him out of hell. So it's very Hellblade Senua sacrifice, actually. So we decided, Old Igor, I want to become a sorceress. Teach me your ways. He hands down the book, and we're able to unlock the first seal at a touch. Old Igor couldn't even unlock the first seal with a lifetime of training. There's something about Vasilisa. We're not sure why she was able to unlock it just by touching the first seal. I'm thinking she may be a demon herself. You know, because we've been needing devils to we've been needing demons to unlock the seals. It's kind of weird. Like, the devil's demons are used interchangeably here, but I just can't get it out of my mind, the D&D mindset that devils and demons are very distinct. Okay, Old Igor's pissed off.
Do you think Vakul will break the seal?
Not now.
Now, I don't know. He'll do whatever he thinks of. He likes sacrifices. Maybe you can make him change his mind with money.
But he doesn't even like money.
I've been thinking about that Rusalka.
Dealt with so many Rusalkas as Geralt.
You could try to buy out her soul, but what's the point? He'll let her go in 50 years or so. She's dead. She can wait.
It's true, there's no bringing her back, but I could spare her that 50 years of servitude.
What should I watch out for at the watermill?
I mean, your father promises a sacrifice. He doesn't pay. You end up being collateral. You end up forgetting about your past life, and then you're sent by your new master to kill people at your father's salt farm. Classic.
I think you should be ready for anything. That demon wanted to meet there for a reason. He has power there, as well as history.
Yep, and see, we need to read that. Watermills. To increase the force of the water's flow, it was blocked by a dam. The wheel of the mill was spun by water flowing through a hole in the dam. Water propelled the blades of the wheel, or turbine, and in turn spins the axis that drives the other mechanisms. The mills were used not only for making flour, but also for cutting wood, metalwork, and stonework in cases where manpower wasn't enough. So I think he wants us to go to the mill because that was the original venture of the salt farm owner. And he hasn't paid for that watermill yet. He still owes the Vodinoy soul. Water propelled the blades of the wheel. Right. The payment that millers took was a tithe, a tenth of all the flour milled. The workers of watermills were friends with mermaids, leshies, and Vodinois. On Pentecost, mermaids were believed to have weddings on the watermill's dam. How wholesome. Alright, I have to remember this because once we encounter the Vodyanoi, he might refer to these things, and it's a chance to get XP. We've been also collecting folk songs, stuff like that. And we can level up, actually. Big bag. Let's learn that finally. And here, pester with shorts. See, we only have 2 meaningless jobs. Well, I gotta get rid of the -3. So Mikolka can turn the souls of sinners into horses. Look at that. If we send him to do stuff, it's +5 sin. Or possess an Ikotka, a +6 sin. So no, meaningless. Mikolka, go count the needles of all the pines. I can live with that. That -1, I can live with that. Fine. I'll be wasted. Do I even use bless? I need bless. I use bless, so no. I need to get rid of that. So I will get hurt at the start of each round. Jesus. Okay. This is Korovin. Long, long ago, he used to sing of the wonders of creation in an angelic choir. You must also count the needles of all the pines. I could send him to do a bunch of stuff, like spread lichen to a cow. Spoil the rye. But no, we're gonna try our best not to do any of that. Time to go.
I'm getting better and better with the book.
Ha! You bet. Knowledge is light. The longer you hold on to this book, the brighter it shines, and the taller the shadow is behind your back.
Oh, that's a pretty cool way to describe it.
Doesn't matter who holds this book, a girl or an old man. This shadow keeps growing, and in time will cover villages, peasants, friends, and family.
You're only telling me now?
Finally, it gets to you.
Well, time to go to the mill.
Vasilisa's like, okay, time to go to the mill.
It's not far from Gaina village. You won't get lost there.
This is Proshka, one of her companions. No, he's not a cat. He's a he's a demon who took the form of a cat. He's our own Salem. We found him inside the body of a little girl, possessing that girl, at risk of killing the girl. We had to beat the cat out of that girl. And now we're friends. And now he keeps the mice away from our izba, which is this traditional house. Visitors. Of course, we have to hear the plight of the people before heading out. It is our day job.
Ah, Vasilisa, here you are. I've been thinking about that wind and three sides and river shells.
So you've remembered about being Sosietko in that spa?
Now, I think we should go back in the church in Yenidor. Maybe something will come up there.
Oh, and we're interrupted by this. Proshka Companion Quest, which will increase their ability. Of course we should. It's like, it's like Mass Effect and Dragon Age. You want to do these companion quests.
Let's go. But is there anything left? Centuries have passed.
We'll search near the foundations, in the cellar. All secrets are hidden underground. You know that better than most. When we'll be in Galbets, maybe then I can tell some future. I'm a Sosietka after all.
New encyclopedia entry. Divinations in Golbets. The connection between the Golbets and the underworld, the world of the dead, is obvious. It is a place where Domovoy was said to dwell if he did not already live behind the furnace or in the attic. It is also a place for Yuletide groom divinations. These divinations were for young women who were about to become old maids, whose peers, girls of the same age or 1 to 2 years apart, were already married, or those whose little sister was already married. The divination was frightening. A girl would go down to the Golbets in secret. Having let her hair down, she would remove her belt, her cross, her beads, and her dress. Wearing only a robe, she would light her mother's wedding candle and look into the mirror. Sometimes 2 mirrors were placed to create a corridor of reflection. Once she saw her groom, the girl was to cover the mirror at once. Otherwise, a chort would come out and strangle her. Damn. Alright, let's go, Proshka. Learn of Proshka's past. Your Ikota cat has been trying fruitlessly to recollect his past for several days now. It seems that Yanidor church basement may uncover some glimpses of Proshka's Susedko past. Was he really one of Chud's people? Or was he born an evil spirit? First stop is the road to Yanidor. This road goes east to Vilgort. From there, it's not far to Yanidor.
Proshka stops every now and then. Circling around a bit, he hesitantly proceeds on his course. It seems as if something is bothering the demon. Something about the road ahead that he hasn't himself realized yet. At the next stop, a gust of wind blows dust in your face. Could it be a demonic wedding?
Hide!
You jump into prickly roadside bushes, dragging Proshka with you. After a few moments, the wind dies down.
Well, that wasn't fun. Just -1 health. So it is very choose your own adventure. The wind has picked up. It better not rain. We'd be stuck here in Yanidor for who knows how long. Let me guess, it's gonna rain.
The road whirlwind is a harbinger of a northern night. The wind bends the trees and sends dust and leaves flying to the empty spaces of the Yanidor crossroads. Somewhere deep in the forest, a lone wolf begins his song. Proshka stops in hesitation once more.
Talk!
What a wind.
Why are you standing there, Proshka?
Oh no, he's reminiscing.
I remember. I used to visit this place often. Perhaps when I was alive, one of the chutes. Doesn't look like my church was worshipped in much, does it?
All you think is about being worshipped. What else could happen in the crossroads that tied Proshka to this place?
Crossroads are said to be... The veil to the living and to the dead is said to be very thin at crossroads. So I'm thinking... Funeral? I don't want to mess this up though. I don't want to let my companion down. So not a celebration or battle or meeting. I think it's a funeral.
Maybe you were buried.
Correct!
Were you a great sinner?
Plus 100 XP. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't bother reading the encyclopedia. Or if you are familiar with Slavic mythology, I think you'd have an easier time in this game. Maybe you were buried here. Were you a great sinner?
Sounds about right. That's how I became a Susetka.
So Susedko is a house spirit or a hobgoblin. Lives under the hearth or in the golbets. Golbets is a cellar.
Let me think. I think I'm remembering something. Dig here.
I don't want to dig up your grave.
Dig, I say. What a thick-headed witch.
Ooh. But it's a sin. Dig up.
All right, as you wish. But if there's nothing there...
You dig up the earth near the road where Proshka told you to. Under a thin layer of dirt and near a rotten log, you find a silver plaque. Proshka furrows his feline brow, but doesn't feel any memories returning.
We did find the Chud goddess, though. The lower world is of one's legs, the middle world of one's hands, and the upper world is above the head. Strength and status prayer, +3. I'm sorry, Proshka. Moving on. This bridge is quite flimsy. One strong gust of wind and...
The old bridge creaks from the cold wind, the cold water of some swampy river rippling beneath it. In the middle of it, you notice forest chorts looking at you with their cold, lifeless eyes from the reeds.
Why is the subtitle different? Well, this is Proshka's quest, so it's the spotlight is on Proshka.
The demon needs only lift his paw for the forest spirits to scramble in panic. You look at him in amazement. Was this his doing, or do the spirits know about the power of the Black Book?
Or do they know Proshka? Herbalist near the stone. Today there's an herbalist trading by the bloodstone. Let's get an herb.
What? Want some pranics? I've sold everything already. Oh, you want some herbs? Well, take a look then.
Oh, Parianik. I never tried them myself, but it's a variety of traditional sweet baked goods in Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and some other neighboring countries. We have 19. 119. What do we want? Vampirism 5. Huh. We already have enough Adam's heads. 10 Adam's heads. Replenish 8, but waste 3. Royal Ice is replenish 20. We could use another Royal Ice, I think. But we should be saving our money. Because we're dirt poor because we're not cursing anyone with our shorts. Alright, let's just buy one thing here. Boop. Alright, I'm poor again. Lulvin swamps. These swamps never stop spreading. They'll swallow Yenidor eventually, by the looks of it.
The northern wind bends the treetops. Their rustling fills the swamps with a rhythmical noise, in which you hear the whisperings of leshies and the wings of demons flapping beneath the ground. You stop for a minute, thinking of how ancient these forests truly are. How many centuries have they stood here? How many centuries will they stand yet? Your meditations are interrupted by Proshka's grumbling. Yanidor is close.
Church of Transfiguration. Old churches keep many secrets. It looks like the Church of Transfiguration still has some hidden away. Oh, I forgot. I do have an empty slot now. Strengthen status prayer plus 3. Increases blessed on the turn. Turn start. Nah. Let's put in another thing. It is hard to die with Maklushka. You have to give it to someone. Give it to who? I don't even remember getting this. Gain plus 2 vampirism on health start. And plus 12 health. Increases recharge speed of allies' ability by 2. Bonus 5 rubles at the end of the battle. We should probably have this if we want more money, right? Ward at the beginning is also good. But we need to make up for our waste effect from the shorts. So we're good with this for now. Haven't we been here before? Priputnik. Then the snake brought a bunch of Priputnik and laid it on the other snake. The latter came to life as if it hadn't been squashed by a cart. Rebirth 1.
This church looks empty now. No one visits, and there's no Proshka to look after it. This church looks empty now.
A young bride once turned into a cuckoo. This herb grows wherever she flies and sheds her tears. It can be used to turn werewolves back into their human selves. Huh. So if you have a werewolf problem, get some cuckoo's tears. How are you feeling, Brushka?
What a dump, right? Look at all this rotten wood. And it used to all be so fine. Don't just stand there, Weiser. There is the door to the undercroft. Open it. What a dump, right? And it don't just stand there.
All right, all right.
It's not as simple as that. Search the chests. Perhaps you'll find something.
What am I looking for?
How would I know? Now, don't look at me like that. There are icons all over the place. It's bad for me to look at them, you know? It's not as simple. Search.
What am I?
Now, it's bad for me to.
Paintings.
Some pictures are mixed with the icons. Were they gifts from the people? Some pictures are mixed with the icons.
When you approach the old wooden planks, you feel a draft.
Not yet. That's probably the way forward. Let's look at everything first. This is creepy.
A bit of a strange face for an angel. Looks like a Chute's idol. A bit of a strange face for an angel. Oh, church books. I'd like to study them, but there's no time. I doubt there's anything about Proshka in them. Oh, church books. An old kitchenware. An old kitchenware.
When you approach the old wooden planks, behind the planks you see a narrow crawl space leading deeper underground.
The gold bets.
I've seen these idols, Vasilisa.
You've been in this dugout before?
Yes, but when? Was it long ago? Something is missing. As if one of the passes on the hunter's calendar has disappeared.
Passes, the tribal signs of Komi-Permians and other Finno-Ugric peoples.
Add it, and everything fits right into place. I've seen this idol.
You've been.
Yes, so add it.
River shells?
The idols have river shells scattered around them. The idols have river shells scattered around them. They're so majestic. They're so majestic.
Yep, something is missing.
Majestic idols of old are now lying in heaps in this dank and wet dugout. The eerie faces of the forgotten deities seem to emanate a cold draft. One of the idols is missing his carved face. Majestic idols of old.
I've seen this idol.
You've been in this.
Yeah, something. Add it.
What are we supposed to do? Strange face. This face. No wonder. They used it for their icon.
An ancient wooden angel is watching you indifferently. You peer into his face, and it looks as if he's wearing a wooden mask. You touch the mask, and it falls to your feet. Its image reminds you of the strange chorts depicted on the idols of the demons.
Again, demons, but then it's should.
An ancient wooden angel is watching you indifferently.
It's not as simple. Search the chests.
What am I looking for?
How would I? Now, don't look at me like... It's bad for me to look at them, you know?
Behind the planks, you see a narrow crawl. Majestic idols of old are now lying in heaps in this dank and wet dugout. The
Insert
eerie
the
faces
mask.
of the forgotten deities seem to emanate a cold draft.
Fits. Uh-oh. Oh. Okay.
I think I remember. I remember everything. But look, what's happening to me?
Proshka?
That's right. That's how I used to look when they called me White.
Voipel, a god in Komi-Permian mythology. The name is translated as North Wind.
Hunters used to bring the river shells from the north, and I flew with the all-knowing wind with no rest and no respite.
Again with the buggy subtitles.
Roshka, is that you?
Vasilisa, I remembered everything. All thanks to you.
Voipel.
Your name was Voipil. Who are you?
I used to be a god, the lord of the northern wind and master of the true people's destiny. Those who lived in the forests of Cherry. I was once powerful for a time. Other gods came and belief in me dwindled. Thou shalt not worship the idol of Voipil, and thou shalt not deal out funeral feasts to him. And thus it came to be. The lights of altars dwindled, and so did my powers.
Are those your idols beneath the church?
Yes, they are. It was my lost temple, this dugout. I still remember that woman. Didn't want to lose the old faith. She hid my idols and put my face on the angels. That's how I survived, as a demon.
Oh.
But in a halo of ecclesiastical glory.
Oh, that's a good line. Shells.
Why all the shells?
This is my symbol, my ears. I used to be omnipresent in this area. I used to cool the ferocious flame of the sun with my wind. But that time is long gone. All that's left are his shells. Bones of the past, long forgotten.
Are those your idols?
Yes, they are. I still remember that woman. She hid my idols and put my face, but in a halo of ecclesiastical glory.
What will you do now?
I'll stay with you. I am in your debt.
Aw.
It's not like I've suddenly grown in power. The universe has been turned upside down. The gods of all the today's demons.
Ouch.
And so did I. When people forgot about me, I forgot about myself. And lost my erstwhile power. But now my past has returned, along with some of my strength. I will help you, Vasilisa. Who knows what other rebirths can I undergo?
Aw. Well, that was pretty quick.
So it turned out that our Proshka used to be a chute demon.
Look at Proshka now. That's so awesome.
Jesus Christ!
Didn't expect that, Grandpa, did you? Perhaps now I'll be the one to tell you to hunt mice.
Unbelievable! I didn't think that such strong spirit would enter your service. I'm glad all the training worked out. Or is it the book? So, now you're going to stay with us?
Well, yeah. I'll live out my cat life with Vasilisa. I found mine, now I help Vasilisa find hers.
Aww.
And no nagging about mice. You might be St. George himself, but you should still do your duty. While I still have my teeth, I'm the master of this house.
Don't worry, Grandpa. I'll take care of it. Consider the mice gone.
Voipel. What? Okay, they're still in the meaningless job.
How do you like my new fur? What a glow.
I don't know how to address you now. Proshka or Voipil?
Proshka it is. I've told you that I'll stay with you until all the seals are open. You've helped me, now it's my turn. I'm not scared of any charts.
Oh.
How can they possibly harm me?
You never know.
What kind of spirit are you?
A chewed one. Permans believed in me in the olden days. My powers have waned. I can catch mice, though.
You're helping me then again.
Yeah, and my power grows because of that. So I won't leave you.
Works out.
You've remembered your past, but won't you forget it all once again?
Yes, you'll become that what you're doing.
Oh.
If you'll be a Sosietka for 100 years, then you'll become one. If you wouldn't have reminded me of the past, then who knows? Maybe I would have become a hairy old man then in another 100. Enough of this Sosietka business. When you'll free your guy, I go back to mountains. I will fly around like a free northern wind.
Oh, we're gonna say goodbye to
I won't
Voipel.
forget a thing that way.
Okay, visitors.
And I was here by dawn.
Why didn't you leave that
Oh,
short
this
to
again?
make sacrifice? Catch the cockroach.
I'll think of something with the Vadin.
You'd better. All right, you need to go to the mill. I already sent a salt worker there.
I'm getting better and better with the...
Ha! You bet the longer you... Doesn't matter. Fine.
Well, time to...
It's not far from Gaina village.
Who's this?
God be with you. I'm a fisherman from the northern lake, Vatti, Lord forgive.
Oh, it's you.
I came to thank you. I don't know what you did, but the Vodyanoi stopped cutting our nets. Here, I brought some dried pike from our crew.
Damn, 40. Yeah, still poor, but thank you. Let's set off.
Galbets and his boss cellar. Old Igor says that's where the Domovoy lives. I've never met one, but I once saw a black figure standing still in the corner of the house.
Who should we take? Proshka Voipel. Why not? Talk to the Vodyanoi. In the pothouse, you met bandits who turned out to be chorts. Time to tell Vakul the details of his incident. First stop is Fedorovo village. I've never been here before, but it seems like a normal village. Or could it be everyone here worships the Vodyanoi as in ancient times?
Near the old Izba, a man is scolding his wife. Half the village soon gathers to listen to the quarrel.
What?
Half the peasants take the side of the husband, while the other half support the wife.
Learn what's wrong.
The subject of the argument turns out to be a saw that breaks down every other time. The man suspects that his wife is cursing it, while she insists she is innocent.
What? Inspect the saw.
This item looks like it's been repaired quite often. Looks like it was fixed by the local smith a couple of days ago.
Offer help.
You think that the smith may know something about the defect and learn how to get to his izba. You decide on your next actions.
Learn about the mill.
It turns out the mill has long since been abandoned and is rather notorious here. Hardly anyone is brave enough to get close to the building. The talk is, the Vodyanoi still grabs passers-by and drags them to the bottom. You decide on your next actions. It turns out the mill has long since been abandoned. You decide on your next action.
Gainskoy. This village isn't far from the mill. You got Super Broshka now.
On the village street, you meet a strange peasant procession with chests and sacks. A peasant clutching a sleepy rooster walks in the lead. The people stop, noticing you on their way. The old women start to cross themselves, thinking you to be a bad omen. The man walking at the head of the procession addresses you.
Who are you, bare-headed wench? What are you doing here at night?
Bare-headed wench. I forgot about that. They have a problem with that.
A rooster in hand and sacks full of clothing. What are these peasants planning?
Crap, I don't remember a story about this procession with a rooster. Escape, moving, gift, divinations. Let's get some clue here. This bird, as a symbol of fire, is often used as a sacrifice to the spirits of the hearth. Oh. Is it a gift or divination? Sacrifice to the spirits. Gift.
Bringing gifts to someone?
Oh.
No.
I misinterpreted that.
Looks like they're offering the rooster as a sacrifice to the Susiatko. So they're moving.
Moving? Okay, so it's... So, before moving, you sacrifice the rooster. That wasn't a very helpful clue, but... It's probably an encyclopedia somewhere.
I'm a simple traveler who's lost her way. So, you're moving into a new isba?
None of your business, wench.
Damn. Steal the sacrifice. Offer help.
I'm a witch doctor. I can help you move.
After a brief discussion, the peasants accept your offer. You make a sacrifice near the future hut while whispering Zagavers. Thankful people offer you some gifts.
Ooh, nice. Money. And -1 sin. Settlement. I feel somewhat frightened. Evil spirits are close.
You go past the new houses of the settlement and approach the Kama Bank. The Vodyanoi was sure to be followed by his retinue, dead men and drowners from the underwater domain. Breathing in the fresh night air, you draw a circle. The Chthonian guests show up almost immediately. Your recent acquaintances emerge from the river.
Hey, how about a round of Gwent?
Is that you, witch?
Hey, it's you guys.
A witch! A witch!
You, what do you need here?
Vakul has gone to the watermill, so the border is thin. We came along too. To help him deal with that girl also.
Here to kill me?
Keep quiet. Did crayfish eat your brains?
I should just attack them. Murder hobo, salt worker, and the Rusalka.
If you know the Vodyanoi so well, maybe you can tell me how to help the salt worker and the Rusalka.
The Vodyanoi took a liking to you. He likes knowers.
Wait till I tell him that the sacrifices have stopped.
He doesn't like that you helped the Rusalka with her name. He planned to live with her for a long time. What's he going to do with her now that she remembered her past?
Treat her properly, maybe?
He was upset that you helped the shepherd. He got so angry. There were waves all over.
Consequences of her actions. You've been helping people along the way. Of course, the Vodyanoi wouldn't like that. Crap.
Vakul is not in a good mood now. He'll probably demand a ransom. I don't know how much.
And then we're gonna add to the fact that, hey, sacrifices are no-go.
But he won't ever let the Rusalka go. Only when her time comes. Like the rest of the drowners.
Maybe it was better that the Rusalka didn't remember her past. Man, that's terrible.
When my time comes, I'll become a Vodyanoi myself.
You believe that, Paul Drowner.
Keep quiet. Did crayfish eat your brains?
Let's play cards. But these guys cheat, I think. With Witching Durak. So what happens if I lose? I'm playing cards with drowners. Not even Geralt can claim to be able to do this. Nice. Shoot, do I have a trump card? I have 2 trump cards. Nice. All these doubles. Let's start off with this. Damn it. Okay. Let's save our trump cards. Almost there. And I win. Yay, I get a new page. Alright. This is already in the book. Damage when health is lost. But we already have Yothon the Pleaser. And we get XP for that. Cool. On to the smithy. The blacksmith who did such a poor job repairing the tool lives here. Almost ruined the marriage.
The smithy is built on the far end of the village to prevent fires. You knock at the door and shudder. The sound disturbs the heavy silence. The door opens. The first thing you see is a gun, and then the smith.
Who are you? It seems a bit early for Carolyn.
Whoa.
A man from Fedorova sent me. Here, his saw is fixed poorly.
The smith puts down his gun and inspects the tool.
Lousily done. It's my work. But what can you do? I'm afraid to work for too long. You won't believe me.
Demon problems?
I'm a knower. I've seen a lot of things.
Christ almighty. Well, listen. The devil himself visits me. He looks like an ordinary, God-fearing man, but smells of drink. He comes and tells me, shoe my horses. So I'm lifting the horse's hoof and see a human foot.
Holy crap. Alright, the sinners turn to
This
horses.
peasant has it backwards, hooves for feet, and he stares at me with these eyes. So I had to shoe a human foot. Lord, forgive me. I've been afraid to open the door ever since.
You say he smells of drink? I met shorts such as this yesterday. They won't bother you anymore.
You chased them away? I don't know how to thank you. Give me that sword. It will be as good as new.
Oh, those are our drowner buddies. But we played Gwent. Sorry, we played cards and we won.
The grateful smith fixes the tool and bows low to you. On your way back, you give the peasant the saw and receive your reward.
Well, that worked out. On to the wine shop. Not that I would be interested in this kind of shops, I'm just passing by.
The wine shop is working until late. Warm light from its window pours onto the street, hidden in the dark. Noticing your book, the wine seller invites you inside. He claims to have books for sale.
Enter the shop.
I see you're interested in books. You have a great one with you, I see. Is it old? I am not only selling drinks, you know. Care to look?
Shop. What do you have? Bast Shoes Ol. Strengthen status curse. Nah. Fire, fire, take your flint. Attack pages deal 1 damage more when I have less than 50 health. Nah. Eloquence 3. Increases well-versed effects for 3. Honeycomb. Yeah, why not? Let's take one of those.
I see you're interested in books. You have a great one with you,
Godia, a small river. Apparently, people used to drown here often. Nothing strange about that. There is a mill nearby.
On the riverbank, you see a peasant that used to look after the Vajinoy's cows. He is alive and obviously free, but his eyes are empty and he can't say a word. You know these things happen to regular people who have been through such experiences. You guide the man to the village and explain that he needs to get to his home, Nekrasova.
It's the... Hey, the prayer worked. This guy's been through a lot. -1 sin. You know, we're getting these minus... Says the sin. We could probably afford to do a few. Watermills are often considered to be bad places. This is because millers often strike deals with Vodianois. Should I tell him about the Rasolka?
The mill rises above the pool of the river inflow. The izba is decrepit, and the water wheel is silent. The reeds around it rustle mysteriously. You're greeted by a salt worker.
Oh, Vasilisa.
I visited the Vodinoy and learned about your daughter. Don't you think it's something worth telling me?
There we go. That's well, okay. I was wondering, should we tell him? And here's Vasilisa. Yep.
How could I? God, this is all like in a bad dream.
He took Yevdokia, but I didn't know he was the one to blame. And I didn't think for a minute that he would send her to kill people. I thought there was another Vodyanoi. I thought I had escaped from that one. So much death, so many sacrifices. Sacrifices. I offered money, vodka, porridge. It's still not enough for Vakul. He only wants lives.
Did you make a pact with the Vodyanoi here?
Yes. This is my old watermill. I used to work here. When I built it, I made a pact with Vakul. He tells me it's business as usual, so I thought I'd pay it off with rubles.
It's never that easy with demons.
Several years later, he started playing tricks with shadows. His way of asking for his sacrifice.
Oh.
I never wanted to hurt anyone, and so I refused him. He then took it for himself. I had an apprentice, a guy who poured grain. A fine lad. I liked him a lot.
Did they change the voice actor mid-sentence?
And the Vodyanoi dragged him into the water. The demon drowned him. Do you understand? Then I abandoned that watermill. I couldn't stay there. I opened these salt works later. I thought he had already taken what was due. But it was never enough for him. Turns out he's the one who took my daughter. He killed my Dusha.
Evdokia.
What happened to your daughter?
My daughter. She had nothing to do with it. When Vakul found me, he, I think, wanted to teach me a lesson. Yevdokia went to Solikamsk in winter by sleigh. The ice broke beneath her. No one found my daughter, nor did they find the sleigh. That time, I didn't guess who was to blame. It's not the Vodyanoi my grandfather told me about. God punished me. He sent the most devious one.
You by Lichka. I really need to check on the forums. Like, this update screwed up. Like, most recent entry. Is it this one? Is this new? I think this is the new one. Got what he asked for. A miller is a Koldun who knows Satan personally. People said so of the miller in the village next to ours. He was cunning and a knower. He never shook flour off of himself, for it was considered bad luck to do so. Once, before he started the mill, he had a talk with the Vodyanoi. They argued for a long time about who would spin the wheel. The Vodyanoi asked for an unthinkable price. He asked the miller to drown a boy and girl in the pond by the next morning. But the miller, a cunning one he was, drowned a young ram and ewe. The Vodyanoi got angry. "You tricked me," he cried. "But you asked for a boy and a girl and you got them." The Vodyanoi then understood that he made a blunder. But a deal is a deal. It's like what happened in Mundown.
How did the Vodyanoi find you in the salt works?
His factory is far away. I thought another Vodyanoi managed this place. And so it used to be in the beginning. I managed to make some money milling the wheat. First I built a small factory and then it expanded. We got along fine with another water demon. He did not want any human sacrifices. Then I gather Vakul beat him and took this river under his control. But I wasn't aware.
Yes, new management.
And then he somehow learned about me.
I think you'll be able to talk to Vakul today.
Oh, I will. That damn chort I will.
Uh-oh.
I don't think you can handle him. Only I can. Besides, even I won't be able to kill him. Masters of nature are strong.
Do what you can.
I will. I think Vakul will show up sooner if you start the mill.
Can do. I already inspected it while I waited.
I think there are 2 voice actors, or he's just not weird.
I've opened the screen, but the wheel doesn't spin. The chute is worn out. I can patch it. These chutes can be patched. It's a pity some of them are too far gone. There aren't enough paddles on the wheel. Look around a bit. We should have enough here. Then we will start it. I'll wait for you inside. I'll fix what I can.
All right. I'll find some boards for you.
And herbs. Indivia herb. Protects and invigorates and even grants strength to unborn babies.
You found a fitting vein for a watermill wheel. You found a fitting vein for a...
Still water, and it's deep at that. Something is splashing around here, but I can't make out what.
Probably the drowners.
Still water, and it's deep at that. This screen blocks water from going to the mill. It's been opened by a salt walker. This screen blocks water from going to the mill. A ramshackle mill. We're lucky it still stands. It's scary around here. Could some other demons have settled here? A ramshackle mill. We're lucky it still stands.
Oh, there are Solkas here.
Vasya, my father, is he also here?
Yes, on the mill. Want to speak to him?
I can't. Vakul won't allow it.
He's not here yet.
I can't disobey him, no matter how much I'd like to.
I need the blades.
For the wheel, I know. Here's the blade. Take it.
The Rusalka gives you a part of the mechanism.
I wonder what would have happened if we didn't help her out.
There's something in this name, Vakul. A bit of perm, you think? I feel he's close. There's something in... I feel...
Vodyanoi.
The water drops from here to the wheel. What a mechanism. Impressive. The water drops from here to the wheel. If the Vodyanoi doesn't help the miller, the wheel will break down very quickly, or stand still altogether. I heard in the south they place the water wheels on the outside.
Oh.
Around here, the cold will bend it.
Ah.
If the Vodyanoi doesn't help the miller, the wheel will break down very quickly, or stand still altogether.
Ah, Vasilisa. 3 blades. That's enough. Well, we have everything we need to start the mill.
Vakul will appear as soon as we start the wheel. All right, it's time.
The salt worker quickly fixes the mechanism. He looks like he's done it plenty of times. Soon, the squeaky wheel makes one rotation, then another.
How do you fight against this?
The middle world. A grand place, beautiful. If only it didn't stink of the living. My favorite witch and her cute little book. I'm so glad to meet you again.
Can't tell if you're in a bad mood or a good mood.
Greetings, Vodinoy.
Well, 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 Vakul.
Howdy, Vakul. Or well, Vakul.
Ah, my old acquaintance. Come to break another promise.
Father,
I didn't tell you to speak.
Oof.
A water stream knocks the salt worker and the Rusalka off their feet.
Oh, what?
You make a lousy guest, Vasilisa. Is it what we do in the Perm region? Steal serfs from their master.
Oh, now he's pissed about that.
There aren't any serfs anymore.
Silence! It seems the bandits still don't make any offerings. Is there a problem, Vasilisa?
Whoops.
The bandits were killed by demons.
You failed the task. But I like you, Rich. Tell me what you want.
Okay, that's enough. Oh no. I don't know if we have enough goodwill for both. Break the seal and free the Rusalka.
I need to break the seal and free the Rusalka. What good comes of keeping her with you? She's a nice girl.
That's why I'm keeping her, because she's nice. I'm not impartial to compassion, so I'm ready to make a deal. You want both? Then I require gold as your sacrifice.
Gold.
Every wish has its price. Mine is a small one.
What's the price? 100?
All right, so be it.
You throw the gold into the water.
So he does want the gold. It's a good thing. I was like, in my head, I was always thinking, you never know when you might need 100 rubles. Freaking lucky there.
Happy to do business with you, Rich.
The Vodinoy touches the book before disappearing into the depths. The Rusalka stays on the shore.
But it's like -1. Yeah, we have been getting -1 sin, so we can really afford maybe 3 to 5 sin. Because over the playthrough, well, you know, let's just try not to accumulate sin in the first place. Let's stick with that. But we're so poor because of it. Thankfully, we get to break the seal now.
One more seal is gone.
Nice.
Oh, forgive me, Dusha. You died because of me.
no. Don't even think about blaming yourself. I'm free from the water demon now. I still have no answer for my sins.
What? I still have to answer for my sins? What?
Wait.
We'll meet again someday. Farewell, Father.
What sins? Oh, right, because you killed all the salt workers, but you didn't know. And how do you deal with that? Like, you had no memory of yourself, your past life, and you killed all these salt workers, and then you find out that, oh, I was the daughter of... That's tough.
The Rusalka smiles at the salt worker and vanishes into white light. On your way back, you comfort Pahom with tales of life after death, but he seems to be happy with how things turned out.
At least they got a moment with each other. What a mess. Just like that. Wait, well now what? This Fate Weaver. Something's up.
Isn't that the most banal of a legend?
It's him! We met him at the... He's like a man of science or something, right? That's his silhouette.
Maybe, but there's too many consequences. The drowners are talking about her. The girl is strong, they say. There are rumors coming from other spirits.
Shit, I'm getting noticed.
Now they agreed to protect a wedding. She must think I would try curse it. If she sticks needles in me, I'll be left without any power. Go to Bakcha. They won't be expecting you.
Well, this is a development. But the silhouette is obviously the guy, the scientist we encountered, who was doubtful at first, or was pretending to be doubtful at first. And why is he talking to the spinner? The spinner was the one we retrieved a part that we needed to free a changeling.
I have certain doubts about this. I've seen her in the village. Not everyone can handle that power.
You should be more confident. I haven't taught you for nothing. You should curse the wedding to be on an equal footing.
It won't be easy. But if she really has the book, I may finally be able to control this force.
Oh shit. His encounter with it probably converted him.
Right, right. There you will find out. And if this is true, you can do anything you wish for. So goes the legend. Take a look at them first. I've sent charts throughout the area. It will be a good occasion.
But this wedding, I wouldn't want to curse peasants. You know how I am with demons.
Don't make me laugh. Who will you curse then? You think you can turn the procession? This thing happened last with my grandmother. Go back as soon as you take the book.
So be it.
Well, get ready. Amen to you.
Oh shit. We actually have an antagonist now. Chapter 3. How Kulduns Curse Weddings.
Uh-huh. And what happened next?
I negotiated with that Chort, and he did what I asked.
Well done, Vasilisa. I myself couldn't have done it better.
Cost 100. So, lesson learned, always keep money on hand.
I remember my youth as a Kuldoon. Ah, those were the days.
I got off easy, you could say.
That's right, you furry short. Go catch some mice.
Let the charts catch them. It's not a job that befits a Susietka.
Proshka, can cats be used to break the seals in the book? Help me check, would you?
Alright, I'll catch some mice. It's not hard or anything. I'm not torturing you like your charts after all.
That is true.
Well, it's time to deal with the next seal.
The seal of the wolf. I was thinking about werewolves.
I haven't heard about them in Uyezd for a long time.
Proshka, can you turn into a wolf?
That won't do. I need to think about this. In the meantime, go and deal with your business. Go visit your betrothed. It's time.
What? You mean our friend who's getting married, right?
I may come up with something.
Oh, so we're gonna go back and meet. What's his name? Vasya? Nikolai?
All right, Grandpa.
Right, more meaningless. Okay, more meaningless jobs. Let's go. Weave a rope out of sand. And count the needles of one of the pints again. Four seals to go. A stone yields to water. And as bubbles swirl, so do warring waters shield this seal. Next is the wolf seal. As long as the shaggy wolf circles the seal, he looks to the town, but no one knows him for who he truly is. Once they do, the seal will open. We're gonna play werewolf. And a new set of cards to play around with. But they cost money to craft. No. We're so poor because of that negotiation. We need to earn our money back. So main task. Visit the grave. Old Igor says that I have some time. I decided to visit the grave of my beloved. Oh! Okay, that's what he talked about with the betrothed. Shorts do all of her housework. You can hear the sound of an axe chopping right now. Well, that's convenient. So downtime. I was actually wondering if the game was going to continue with that same loop over and over and over, but here we kind of have like a break in the story for once.
Old Igor made the church cut the firewood. Although he has no knowledge now, the church listened to him anyway, for old time's sake.
Aww.
Everything can be done with the devil's help.
Wow.
Old Igor made the church cut the firewood. Although he has no knowledge now, everything can be done with the devil's help. So much firewood will last us a long time. There may be some good from the chorts after all. So much firewood will last us a long time.
This is behind our house.
This bar used to house a lot of people. Now it's only me and Grandpa. Grandpa doesn't care about the household. He used to be interested only in his sorcery. Now that I have inherited his knowledge, he may as well take on some chores. This bar used to house a lot of people. Now it's only me and Grandpa.
The Kaluka herb is gathered during Peter's fast. Circle an arrow with the smoke from this herb, and you won't miss your mark. I remember that. To the field.
Yes, it's good that I'm not one of those petty charts from hell. Work all day or curse people. That's like a kind of work too, right? I'm perfectly content lying here watching after the household. That's my thing.
Susetko.
What should the domovoy do if not prepare firewood?
Lots of things. You haven't had a Susietka for a long time, so your roof caved in a bit. Sedge and other things grow in it.
Oh.
I wouldn't let it get this far. Well, I'll clean this place up when I have time. I'm still not settled in here.
Like a true cat. What is sedge? Grass-like plant with triangular stems and inconspicuous flowers, growing typically in wet ground. Sedges are widely distributed throughout temperate and cold regions.
Maybe you could help my chores?
Yeah, right. I have my paws full with matters of my own. Looking after the house, getting rid of the mice, putting out the fire, yeah? You think that's enough work? I'd say so.
Isba.
How are you doing in Grandpa's isba?
I'm doing fine here. I feel calmer, even. You don't have icons, and it's not like they used to have them in the church. And the corner over there reminds me of the old times. They used to keep food and the gods there.
We'll talk later.
Yes, it's good that I'm not one of the work all day, or I'm perfectly content lying here.
We'll talk later.
Hey, you! Cut faster! Curse you! Been chewing at my scalp all through my life. Now let's get to work.
So, Grandpa, the chorts listen to you.
Of course. We've living together for so long. They still remember me. And they're quite scared of you.
Ah.
It's good that chorts help around the house, right?
Well, yes. Cutting firewood, that's nothing. Once I sent them to plow the field, and they plowed the whole area through and through. The vacant areas, and the seeded plots too. They need lots of looking after. Still, they have their uses.
Wolf seal.
Maybe I should look for wolves in the forest?
What? No, we need evil spirits. Ordinary wolves won't do. I have an idea. Don't fret. We'll break this seal in time.
How did you get that isba, Grandpa?
The Isba? I inherited it. The older ones eventually all moved away. Some went away, some stayed in Vilgord. The house was left to me by my parents. It's old, like me. We don't have much time left. Soon we'll both go to the afterlife. I'm leaving this Isba to you. There's no one else.
All right, Grandpa. I need to go.
I'm surprised. I'm getting that feeling. I really get this feeling in games. Like, you can tell when, you know, a cast of characters is starting to grow on you. Like, it's cool. And that's really, like, that's great, isn't it? Like, being able to get invested in a cast of characters. And I'm getting that feeling here. And we're not even halfway through yet, so hopefully the momentum keeps up and, you know, moments like this, unexpected. It's that feeling that I'm getting invested into this world. Like, it's slowly creeping up. I think that's it. Nothing with the chickens. And now we're gonna take a moment to actually trek to the grave of our husband, our betrothed. We didn't even get married, apparently. Hidden herbs. Can't we visit the yard every day? We're getting so many herbs here. Excuse me. I think that's it. Road to the grave. I have to follow this road to the island of trees. Ooh. Right. This is where the game began. Nice shot. And it's the theme of the game. Oh. We haven't been able to pause like this and think about why we're doing all this. The church would not bury him. Little Fir Tree, that's the name of the song.
Sing winds from the quietest to quiet, from the lightest to light. Lift up the branches and sand from the grave. Split, Mother Earth. Reveal yourself, coffin lid. And fly open, white shrouds, and draw open sweet lips. Tell me, my darling, of your life there, and ask me of our life here. I've been living here, wandering from place to place. I've witnessed all kinds of grief. All kinds have I suffered. I saved a girl from Abanya. See, there's some good done with this knowledge. I saved another girl from the wretched claws of a Vadinoy.
Oh, imagine if you didn't do any of these things. How different this would have been.
I have to live with chorts, but they don't curse often.
Yeah. The alternative is we kept cursing people. What would Vasilisa tell him?
Maybe it's better this way, being a knower. Someone else would curse people much more.
Yeah.
Soon you'll be back, my darling. As soon as I break all the seals. And you, teach me. Guide me, miserable orphan that I am. How to break all the seals of the book. And I will reach out my white hands and pull you from the other shore.
And we're back to the original game loop. That is a great that's a great break. A great chapter break. Any other new additions to the house? I don't think there has been. Hey, how was married life?
Yegor Yevlampovich, Vasilisa.
Matriona, why do you have your face covered?
Why, isn't that groom with his bride?
I think this is the wedding that we protected.
So, you're keeping your word, Nikolai?
I told you I needed a bride, and with help from you and God, here we are.
The wedding is close. I see you've covered yourselves, as is tradition.
Yes, we needed to have this wedding as soon as possible, so that the Bonnics wouldn't drag me back. I understand you have a lot to think about. Vasya, weddings are the least of your worries, but if you can't do it, no one can.
We're gonna meet our antagonist.
You were the matchmaker for me and Nikolai, so you should stand as matchmaker by my side at the wedding.
Why do I get the feeling now that this game is gonna get really dark at the wedding? Was it too much to ask for a happy ending for these two after all that we've been through? Why do I have a bad feeling that something's going to happen to them at the wedding?
I have no time to give a dowry at a bachelorette party.
Right. The week has passed. The dowry appeared at my house, and what I lacked, the girls from my village helped out with.
So a week or a bit longer between matchmaking and a wedding day. During this time, the bride did the weepings, prepared dowry, and said farewell to her friends while getting ready for the wedding.
The main thing is you being my matchmaker.
I can't. I have other business.
It's all right, Vasya. You can go. We have some time. And when the wedding passes, a solution to a problem might reveal itself.
You too, old Igor, come. You'll be our master of ceremonies.
What an honor. To what do I owe the pleasure, huh?
Well, you taught Vasilisa and helped with the items for the bride.
That's right. Well, you see, Vasya, how can you say no?
Who did you ask to be your best man?
Petka, the accordion player. He's an old friend of mine.
Small world. That guy is traumatized now. But we saved him. Thank God. If we didn't save him, what would have happened here?
Fedka? What curse can he help you with? How can we attend such a wedding, Grandpa?
Stop it, Vasya. Fedka will manage. He's a jester, but he can. Besides, we'll be there. We'll help with the evil spirits and Khaldoons.
All right, but Fetka needs looking after, so he won't curse the wedding himself.
Thank you, Vasilisa. I brought a gift for you. I think you'll like it, and it should prove useful.
We didn't come only because of the invitation. We need a nowhere's help. My future mother-in-law hired brewers to make beer.
But they quit halfway through. They say demons chased them away. They're beside themselves with fear.
Well, we can't have that. We need beer at the wedding.
We decided not to approach these demons without you. Maybe it's Bannik's trying to interfere with the wedding.
It's true. Man, it's just so much gonna go on with this wedding. There's a lot of baggage here.
You made a wise choice.
Is the bride side brewing beer?
We decided both sides will brew. The villagers are close to each other.
In Pakcha, where my mother lives, there are some skilled brewers. We hired them. Father is long gone, after all.
What are they saying about Chorts?
Some shadows are being noisy, turning over tubs and whatnot.
See, they're brewing the beer by the river, so I thought that the Aptericha might reveal herself.
When's the wedding day?
Everyone is invited the day after tomorrow. First is the wedding day, and the next day we're going for a ceremony. Not everything is by the book, but you know how it is.
Wedding. A wedding is one of the transition cycle rites, symbolizing a person's temporary death, passage through the world of the dead, and rebirth. Quite literally for the bride's case. For this reason, weddings were carried out in the same time frames as were funerals and labor rituals. The girl received the status of bride 3 days after the matchmaking, the day when her parents agreed on a wedding date and a dowry size. Before the wedding feast, she was forbidden to go out, and if guests came, she hid herself in the women's corner, a place behind the stove. On the 3rd day, she performed rituals crying to say goodbye to her house. On the 7th and 20th day, she repeated the ritual, saying goodbye to her homestead and village respectively. 3 days before the wedding feast, she bid farewell to her friends and the world in general. During the feast, she was not allowed to eat, drink, or uncover her face. Thus, the bride returned to the world of the living only on the 40th day after the matchmaking, following her wedding night. Holy crap. That's pretty involved.
All right, I'll help you. After all, the ceremony is incomplete without beer, and you have your whole life ahead of you.
Well, come the day after tomorrow then, if I'm the master of ceremonies.
See you soon. Lord be with you.
Please, please be a happy ending. What's with the antagonist all of a sudden? Well, of course, we are getting noticed, and people do want the Black Book. Because the Black Book is the one that grants wishes.
Greetings. God bless.
You talked with a spinner. My meta knowledge is on point. Now what? Pretending that you're still a man of science.
God bless. What brings you here, Your Honor? The stove flap is over there to your right.
Alexander looks around, perplexed.
What's that again supposed to mean?
Grandpa, he's not here about that. He doesn't know these things either. And the matchmakers come without a groom.
Wait, what?
Hello, Vasilisa. I was in the area for business and decided to drop in. I mean, I think you'll also be interested in this case I have. They talk about you and your grandfather quite often. You remember that fired short that tortured the girl in Logova?
Wait, when was that? Yeah, I think it was with Alexander. Yeah.
There's a similar case in the village near Pakcha. It's called Северное Settlement.
That's where I'm going to track this chord. So, Северное settlement? You start treating them with your methods. Perhaps I'll drop by.
He's trying to take us out of the picture. Then we won't be able to make it to the wedding or something.
Thank you. Till we meet again.
Hold on. Fancy some tea? Help me move the table first, would you?
Table? No time. My patients are waiting.
You bastard.
Alexander hurriedly leaves your izba.
Oh, God. Well. They don't know, we know. It's gonna be a tragedy. So let's focus on what we can. Well, what they do know is that we need to remove the beer curse. Someone cursed the beer that was being brewed by the river for the wedding. Could it be the Obdorikas doing? Come for revenge, maybe? We should take maybe old Igor. Dead Igor. Since we're both we'll be the ones at the wedding, we should probably do this together. This dusty road winds along the Kolva.
It's getting dark. You keep the black book ready. Khaldoons often put their chorts by the roads, as you have already witnessed several times. Soon, you notice someone's burning eyes under the roots of an old fir tree.
Huh. Should we fight, play cards, walk around it? It's gonna work. Let's play cards. God. Gwent, the solution to everything. Turn 1, short attacks short. Vasilisa attacks short. Ah, 4 kings. We have a trump. Haha. My turn. Take those cards. Short attacks Vasilisa. Shit. Fine, give me all those 9s. Take. Almost there, almost there. Just let me take cards. Short attack and short. Damn it, give me an opening. Shoot. This one bugged out. Aha! I win. Alright, this is from a new set then. Stronger than steel. Choose a page and add an effect firm. Immediate. Swipe. Remove space from the book till the end of the turn. So immediate. Is used instantly, bypassing Zagovor. Ah. So you can make a card firm. That seems pretty powerful. Increases curse each turn for 3. We have to curse them first and then weakness. Maybe it's not really our focus right now. Eretnik Squad. Swipe, so it's gone forever, but it's 3 damage for every idle chort. We have so many idle chorts. Yeah. Now we can finally find a use for them. Not doing anything. We just will send them to attack. Alright, that's 3, 6, 9, 12 damage. Pokcha Road. This road is close to the forest. I should keep an eye out.
Among the treetops, you notice a silent giant.
Ooh.
His figure towers over the trees and sheds a dark shadow on the frozen road.
Call out to the spirit.
You greet the chort, but hear only loud laughter in reply. A sudden wind bends the tall pines.
Aw. That's it? I wanted to talk to you. Northern settlement. Somewhere around here is the house Alexander went to. It should be easy to find.
You find the Izba Alexander told you about without any difficulties, and question the locals. As it turns out, the husband of the sick woman died recently. Your acquaintance is already here.
These are fish traps. Looks like her husband used to be a fisherman. It's unlikely she goes fishing herself. These are fish traps. Looks like her husband used to be a fisherman. The furniture, as well as the rest of the Izba, has fallen into disrepair. It's clear that the woman can't look after the house alone. Some benches are overturned. Looks like the work of a demon. The furniture, as well as the rest of the Izba, has fallen into disrepair.
Is this your doing,
It's
Alexander?
clear that the woman can't look after the house alone.
In the corner of the Izba stands a solid Russian stove. On the whitewashed mouth, you can see black traces of soot. It's difficult to say who is to blame, a demon or a housewife's clumsiness.
Russian stove. The stove is of central importance in Sherdin. It was used daily to cook and to make baked milk and sour cream. Baked milk. It is also used to dry berries and mushrooms for winter. Even the most modern ovens and electric stoves cannot compete with a genuine Russian stove. It provided light, warmth, a place to sleep, and dry boots and clothes. In the Russian north, fireplace stoves were prevalent, built of stone without mortar. In northern Prikamye, brick or clay stoves were common. For some time, stoves were stoked the black way, meaning they had no chimney, and the smoke escaped through a special window or crack near the ceiling. In Old Ladoga, stove foundations were up to 1.5 meters across. The Russian stove is a complex construction consisting of 25 elements. Children are taught how to stoke it from an early age. A stove bench is a wooden bench for lying down and sleeping. It is built between the stove and the wall, close to the ceiling. A stove was not usually stoked after midnight. It is considered impossible because of the bad backdraft it produced at night. That is a lot about a stove.
In the corner of the izba stands a solid Russian stove. On the whitewashed mouth,
Oop. Oh, I'm stuck. There we go.
you open the chest and are hit with a foul stench. Inside lie everyday items of the woman and several linen sacks. It seems they are the source of the smell.
What the hell?
You wince in disgust. The sacks contain horse manure, wriggling with worms. These are the gifts of a demon. To cursed people, they seem like gold and prianics.
Tricked.
Bed sheets and towels, nothing of interest.
Whoa, what's this? Lubok. That's... wow. There's a lot going on in this picture. These things creep me out in an interesting way. Like it's... definitely different.
Let me be. I need to rest. The fever won't let me be.
They say you became a widow. Oh, Jesus Christ, may he rest in peace.
Yes, he died, but I'm managing.
Sometimes dead husbands come back from the afterlife. Have you heard of that?
What kind of story is that? That sort of thing never happens. Lord have mercy.
Don't try to be cunning with me. I've seen all kinds of charts, and I can sense the Walking Dead from a mile away.
Phew, witch! What could you know about me and my Vasya? You know nothing.
What the heck?
Maybe I'll be able to convince her if I pretend to be her acquaintance. So, what did her husband do?
What's going on? Fisherman.
Perhaps he was a fisherman. Looks like it. There are fish traps in the corner. What do you mean? I know you through my godfather. He used to go fishing with your Vasily quite often.
He won't be fishing any now. He's dead, I'll tell you. Go away. You and your groom, let me rest.
She still doesn't believe me. How can I convince her that everything's not so simple with her guest?
What's going on? Maybe we should have talked to Alexander first. Gifts?
You think your Vasily brings you sweets? Take a closer look.
Jesus, what have you done, witch?
I know who is to blame for your sickness. If you want to live, you must tell me.
All right, I'll tell you, but don't you tell anyone. My husband didn't die. He still visits me in the evenings, but he told me to keep quiet. People won't understand.
You hear the sound of scattering sparks. A fire chort, familiar to you, emerges from the stove, and it immediately turns into a human.
Uh-oh.
Again with your plots, witch! Don't interfere with my business.
You again.
You want to kill me? Didn't work out for you last time.
Ha! Kill? I have another purpose. You stopped me here, but I'll find other creatures.
Not so fast. You can't hide from me in my Uyest.
That may be so. That's why you will be busy with my new friends. I won't be back here.
A couple of chorts appear near him, while he himself turns into a fiery whirlwind and disappears into the chimney. You can catch up with that chort if you don't spend time on these demons.
Oh, man.
But what will happen to the sick woman?
Of course. Stay.
You open the book and read the first Zagavar.
What? We didn't talk to Alexander, though. I'd like to know what the hell Alexander was talking about.
You find the Izba Alexander told you about without...
These are fish traps. Looks like her husband. It's unlikely she goes fishing herself.
In the corner of the Izba stands a solid Russian stove. On the whitewashed mouth, you can see black traces of soot. It's difficult to say who is to blame.
The furniture, as well as the rest of the Izba, has fallen into disrepair.
You open the chest, and you wince in disgust. Bed sheets and towels. Nothing.
Vasilisa, it's so good that you're here.
Alexander coughs and glances at your book.
So obvious.
Did you examine the sick woman?
Yes. The case is indeed similar to that in the Logova village. The woman is weak, but it's not so bad as that time.
It's still early. The demon only started coming to her. What is she saying about the chort?
There was no mention of chorts. You think they're to blame? She says it's a simple fever. But the symptoms are rather strange. I thought it to be anemia and nervousness. She buried her husband not long ago.
It seems strange because it's not a simple sickness. She can't tell because the demon has some power over her.
What should we do?
The snake doesn't appear often in the beginning. We'll have to make it.
Some chorts take an image of a dead relative, often the husband, and come to the grieving. Such a chort flies in the sky as a fire sheaf, broom, or spindle. Only on the ground it assumes the dead man's image. One can recognize his demon by the absence of his spine. Yeah, it's been a long time since we had this. I totally almost forgot about this mission.
If she tells me about it, it will surely come. It's late. It will try to kill us.
Right? I won't stand in your way.
Damn it, Alexander.
You talked to the sick.
Not yet, but soon. Be ready. The chort may show up.
Right. You talked to the sick.
Not yet.
Right.
Probably knows something about that.
Let me be. I need to rest. The
They
feast.
say you became a widow.
Yes, he does.
Sometimes dead husband.
What kind of...
Don't try to be cunning with me.
Witch?
Maybe I'll be able to convince her. Perhaps he was a fisherman. What do you mean?
He won't be.
She still doesn't believe me. How can I convince her that everything's not so simple with her? You think your Vasily brings you sweet?
Jesus!
I know who is to blame.
All right. My husband didn't tell.
You hear the sound of scattering sparks.
Again with your...
You want to kill...
Ha! Yes.
Not so
That may be...
A couple of chort. You can catch up with that chort. If you don't spend, you open the book.
Okay, 7. We can curse them. So that's gonna be curse 5. So it's 1, 6, 8. 1 defense, that's fine. Oh, we can also curse them again. Or kill one of them already. Nah, we can't do that. Nah. Well versed. Waste. Curse. Gesture. And increase damage for each, increase defense for each damage. Yep. Alright. What's this? Removes positive status and 2 damage. It's probably what Alexander wants to delay us. So 6 damage to you needed. 6, 7, 8. That should kill you. And I will... in Father's name. Now what? You're dead. Wait, why aren't you dead? Damn it, Nava targeted someone else. Now Nava's targeting you. We win. But let's heal first. Alright, new cards. 8 defense for every enemy with a status curse. Damn. Well-versed weakness. Choose a page and add an effect 1. This is immediate. So now we have immediate spells. This is new for this set. We don't need that. Seems cool.
You defeated the Chorts, and the woman seems to be safe now. But how many souls will this fiery snake ruin? No one knows the answer to this question.
Oh my god.
You can only continue on your way.
Yeah, they gotta rub it in. I didn't trust Alexander. I could have left old Yegor to deal with them, but he doesn't have spells either. Alexander? What's he gonna do against the Chorts? So it's that. 1 life to have a chance at taking down this fire snake who's going to ruin more lives. Damn it. Well, with that diversion out of the way, our next stop is the Kimzelka River, but that's all the time we have for today. Do have an appointment to make, so that's all we have the time for today, everyone. We're gonna be playing this again next Thursday. We play this every Thursday, so we're gonna get to the bottom of the story, and well, we're halfway through our journey, and we still have a lot of time left with Vasilisa and her companions. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Corin, thanks for dropping by and hanging out. For those who may still be lurking, if you enjoyed this content, please consider hitting that follow button and checking us out on Twitter and Instagram. And if you wish to become a part of the Tabletop Cinema community, our Discord is open 24/7. And I'll leave you with that. Take care, everyone. And as always, welcome to the table.